being a valued member of a society. I really am thankful that I was fortunate enough to be part of this, especially during what was going on.
With everything going on around the production of this, including obviously Chadwick's passing, but then everything that went on last summer in the United States, how important do you feel this kind of story is, like portraying such an iconic Black character? How important do you feel this is right now? Like, how much does that speak to you?
Alyssa, let me say the first thing is not just last summer,
always.
Last summer was the flashpoint of things that have been happening for centuries,
100%.
And we'll continue to work in a kind of, let's just say, conceptual framework that doesn't always respect us and see us as human beings, right? That is, unfortunately, been part of the Black experience in America. That said, that makes the metaphorical power of a character like the Black Panther and Wakanda as a fictional construct so important, right? It lets you imagine what Black lives look like outside of oppressive systems. Entering that fictional space, that notional space, can be like one of the first parts of learning to love yourself as a person of African descent. The Black Panther as a character certainly was part of my journey to self-love. I first encountered him in the comic books, and I was like, oh, this is a character who embodies nobility and responsibility and intelligence. That was also meaningful to me because, a lot of Black superhero characters were not premised on those core foundational elements. So the fact that T'Challa is a scientist, is a strategist, is a leader of a country that has different factions, and he has to build consensus and push them into the future while keeping history in mind. Like, that's all super appealing to me. And when you talk about the real world applications of a conceptual construct like that, it's okay, how do we keep our dignity in the face of systems that want to remove it? And he's a powerful character in that regard.
Chris, what do you think about that as well? Like stepping into a role like this with all the legacy that it has, and the fact that all of this has been going on for a very long time, but the conversations around it are happening more often.
It is quite the conundrum where what we talk about and what we aspire to in sci-fi, fantasy, be it comics, be it film, television, is so inclusive and so aspirational. But yet the businesses that we're in are not inclusive nor aspirational. In fact, a lot of times they're the inverse of that. Touching on what Evan said, Black Panther was the first quote unquote superhero that I ever identified with. My parents put a very heavy emphasis on grammar, knowledge, seeking knowledge, which really at that time wasn't being celebrated nor cultivated. Black Panther for me was the first time I saw it celebrated. So it has always had this great place in my heart. There's a lot of stuff going on when we were recording this, and a lot of times, and God bless all folks at Crystal Dynamics, there were times where we would just talk when we started sessions because we had just witnessed something going on or watched something on TV, and just emotionally, it was very difficult. But then this almost was a salve for it. It was like, if we could just do this, this would be so much simpler. In that time, to be doing something that was about dignity and about respect and being valued, being a valued member of a society. I really am thankful that I was fortunate enough to be part of this, especially during what was going on.
Thank you for sharing that and for being so open. you've spoken about this at length before, Chris, about kind of hesitating to take the role because of Chadwick's legacy and obviously his untimely passing. Ultimately, you know, what convinced you? What made you decide to take it?
Let me clear up a great misconception. We started this long before Chadwick passed.
Okay, interesting.
So yeah, my reluctance to do it was truly just fear. Chadwick's performance was beautiful, sweeping, majestic, but it's a different medium. My fear came from my great respect and my great reverence for what this character is to me. It wasn't that I didn't want to do it. It was, could I do it good enough? So that's kind of where that all came from. And it was pitched to me as the Avengers go to Wakanda. And I was not down because it sounded like the Avengers were gonna go save Wakanda. So that was part also of my initial hesitancy. Now, they could have really expedited the whole negotiating process if they had just said Evan was attached to it. Because I know then that would not be what it would be about.
I mean, yes, I wouldn't have let it go down like that either, but I appreciate you